Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome to another broadcast of the Nexus Gaming Series. I'm going to be your host for the evening, The Sound, and I am excited to be bringing a Division B East matchup tonight. We are seeing Hunkrats facing off against Start Slow and then Taper Off. A little bit of info on our two teams. Hunkrats are a new team this season as far as a solidified roster is concerned, but I think all but one of them are NGS veterans, with some people playing as many as 10 seasons. Start Slow then Taper Off have a bit more time together. This is their third season as a stable roster, and so I'm excited to see how that time together has influenced their team synergy and crisp rotations. Let's take a look at our Division B standings. And in first place, we've got Start Slow then Taper Off. They've been having a red-hot start to their season, well ahead of the rest of the field with 16 points. And Hunkrats, down at 11th, have a bit of room to climb before they are back in playoff contention, but we still have a lot of HOTS left to play for the season, and if they secure a domination tonight, that will put them back kind of in line with those 8th and 10th seeds there, starting with Reset City down to Anarchy. Maps, we can take a look at what our teams have banned out for the series. And we had Start Slow then Taper Off winning the coin toss, and they opted for first pick, which meant that Hunkrats banned out Cursed Hollow and Dragonshire, with Start Slow then Taper Off responding with a Tower of Doom and Battlefield of Eternity. So we are headed to Braxis Holdout. That should say Braxis Holdout. Try that again. Excellent. Braxis, not the most common of maps that we see in NGS. It is often banned or avoided. I think there is a lot of distaste for it from all of our time in Storm League, where it's not necessarily the most dynamic of maps. But in an organized setting, it's got a lot more to it. The prevalence of gank rotations from your team, the emphasis on playing out of vision to kind of hold as much information from your opponent as possible. It's a really interesting dynamic kind of rotational based map in an organized setting, as opposed to our traditional Storm League, one up top, four in bottom, and we just bash into each other until one of us wins. So interested to see how our lane arrangements work out, if we've got an emphasis on global heroes from either side of the draft. Talking a little bit more about our teams, Hunkrats are centered around their captain. The roster is centered around their captain, Colonel Pants, who has been playing in NGS for the past 7 seasons, and even spent some time playing in Heroic Div for Wildheart Omega. So I'm excited to see the potential playmaking from a player who has spent time in those higher divs. Of course, Start Slow Then Taper Off are performing very well this season, so it might not be enough for just one of the Hunkrats to have outstanding playmaking moments. The consistent team presence that Start Slow have brought to each of their matches is likely to be a challenge to overcome. I'll just check in with our two teams to see how close we are to getting ready. And we are getting close. Excellent. A little bit more about Start Slow and Taper Off. They, as I mentioned, this is their third season together, but each season they have been together, they have climbed a division. They formed back in season 14 and were in the D East, where they finished first place in the regular season. They ended up getting knocked out at the Coastal Finals. But were still promoted next season, in season 15, to C East, where they finished first in the regular season again, and also ended up taking the grand finals against the West Coast Div C team. And it looks like we are getting into our draft now. Let's take a look at how we get going with this first map. First pick, going over to Start Slow and Taper Off. I think that probably favors them a bit. When I think of Braxis, I think of first pick. Of course, second pick does have a distinct advantage in that they are able to hold their offlane pick, being able to flex that last pick in the draft to respond either with a offlaner or a ganking roaming hero, can really shift the draft in your favor with that last pick. So first pick, often a good call, but second pick not without its advantages as well. Starting with a Ghoul Danban, a great wave clear hero, one that stacks on heroes starting at level 1 with 2 of their builds, and can do a lot to clear out the objective. Hunkrats responding with the Hogger ban. Hogger, a very resilient offlaner, lots of self-sustain built into his kit, so not too surprising to see the ban. We'll see how Start Slow want to continue to shape their draft here. Going for a Yrel ban. So that's 2 of the stronger offlaners out of the pool. Immediate answer back with the Brightwing. Not wanting to have to deal with that global presence. Brightwing's ability to shift from bottom to top with a large heal does shift a lot of those engagements. First pick now, it's going to be the Blaze. Blaze, perhaps one of the best offlaners in the pool, if not the best. Doesn't bring much in the way of dueling potential, so we'll see how Hunkrats want to respond. Likely to see a healer or tank in this rotation, and it's going to be both healer and tank. Garrosh and Anduin, the Horde and the Alliance working together. Garrosh is quite strong on Braxis, but does struggle into Jaina. The Anduin's cleanse And Anubarak, interesting. Anubarak, not a hero that I typically associate with Braxis holdout. He does not have the most staying power out of all the tanks, given his lower HP pool. But his ability to burrow over walls does make his ability to gank other lanes a lot stronger. Likely to see another healer ban from Hunkrats here. Perhaps a Lucio. Going to be the Stukov ban. Stukov has great healing throughput over time, pretty strong on the map, and the silence pool zone control that he gets from his E can make it really challenging to contest point, so I can understand how Hunkrats picked the Admiral for the chopping block. Perhaps an offlane ban here from Start Slow. It's going to be the Uther. Not interested in seeing a double support. Both damage and an offlaner available for Hunkrats now. I'd be interested to see them pick up a hero with consistent auto attack pressure, maybe a Greymane, maybe a Tychus, to kind of put pressure on Anubarak. He's tanky into spell armor, or into spell damage with his spell armor, but it's going to be Leoric and Kael'thas. Kael'thas's Living Bomb, able to get lots of value if teams stay clumped up, which some folks do when playing Braxis. It's going to be Malfurion and Cassia. Last pick here, one more damage dealer. Genji is still on the table. One of the premier ganking heroes in the game. Could put a lot of pressure onto the Blaze in top, as well as Malfurion and Jaina in the backline. It's going to be the Raynor. Fair enough. Raynor does bring the consistent auto attack pressure that I was talking about to put pressure on the Anubarak health pool. So that's interesting. Definitely not a hero that I see very often. So we'll see what build Raynor goes for. Perhaps also stacking with that, I want to call it Veteran Marksman, but I know that's probably wrong. Oh, that's correct. Anyway, Garrosh going to have a tough time with the Jaina, but a great follow-up CC in the form of Kael'thas. Anubarak is going to have a lot of reach onto their backline, though. We'll see how our teams fare in their first game together. Let's get into the match now. And introducing our teams, here on the left, we've got Hunkrats. Lulu playing Anduin, Colonel Pants on Garrosh, my pal Shade playing Leoric, Arthanau on Raynor, and Waterlong playing Kael'thas. And to the right, in red, we've got Start Slow and then Taper Off, Zero Day Attack on Blaze, Fenrir on Cassia, OP on Jaina, Xenochrist on Anubarak, and Arlu playing Malfurion. Taking a look at our level 1 talents, we've got an Exterminator Raynor at level 1, so that's going to bring a lot of wave clear, as well as Zerg clear. Stacking globes for both Jaina. Arlu eats a stun. That's going to be it for the Malfurion. First Blood going over to Hunkrats. Colonel Pants falling very low here. But that is going to be the kind of trouble that Malf has. Malfurion not able to reposition himself very well. No form of mobility. About 10 seconds before our camps spawn on the map. and it's really about getting the priority clear on these first couple of waves. Jaina, of course, does a lot to speed the clear of Start Slow. Xenochrist tossed in now. No burrow for escape. That's going to be 2 kills over to the side of Hunkrats. Colonel Pants falls very low, but able to escape from the blizzard. OP tagging a lot of damage onto Waterlong there. With that early hero advantage, we're going to see Hunkrats move on to their siege camp here in bot lane, as well as secure the bottom objective. Checking in on top lane, we've got my pal Shade getting the channel here as well. Back down to bot. We can see Xenochrist gets on the point, but not with enough time to transition it over. A full blizzard onto Colonel Pants now. Gonna take a lot of punishment. That's another stun onto Xenochrist. Looks like they don't have the burrow charge, but all of our blue health bars are falling exceptionally low. Lulu gonna be the first to fall on the side of Hunkrats. Lots of great CC and follow-up from Fenrir and Opie there. And checking in back on our top lane, we've got Shade and Zero Day Attack going at it. An endless battle. Of course, Leoric is going to have a lot of damage and pressure onto Blaze here with his Drain Soul, or Drain, I don't know, his W. Of course, now we see Opie rotating up, and in bot, our blue team is unable to shove Start Slow off the point, so that's going to be some objective progress for Start Slow. Burrow in from Xenochrist is not going to be punished in any way. Arlu takes a stun and a flame strike, but they're able to make it out alive. Checking back in on top, we can see my pal Shade doing what they can to stave off this 2-on-1. Looks like they've managed to stay very healthy despite the Jaina's visit. And they're going to do their best to recapture this top point. Checking in on bot lane, we've got Colonel Pants tapped and getting to full life. Of course, Arthanau is very low. Root, stun, sleep onto Waterlong. Fend in from Cassia is going to secure the kill onto Lulu, but it's a 1-for-1. Jaina going down as well. Looks like health bars are in favor of Start Slow here, and in top, Blaze steps on the point, able to secure more objective progress. Above 50% here for Start Slow. My pal Shade able to do a lot of damage to the Blaze, but in bot lane, we've got Cassia falling perhaps to towers. I'm sure Colonel Pants was able to get a good reposition there, and that's going to secure some more objective progress for Hunkrats. Jaina, not to be out of the objective race, rotates straight top, looking to dump as much damage as they can onto Shade. Already used the Wraithwalk here, but they've got their W secured. Oh, no scout on this rotation from Waterlong and Colonel Pants. Means we're going to lose Opie. Jaina dead in top lane. Back in bot, we've got Arthanau taking a set of CC from Arlu and Xenochrist. 64 to 80% on the objective progress now. But it is 5 heroes to 4 on the map. Xenochrist burrows in, and Colonel Pants just wants to get more objective progress. Tosses the large bug off point. Likely to secure the objective here. So blue team is going to secure our first full Zerg wave. Of course, Start Slow secured a fair wave themselves. 67% is nothing to sneeze at. And we can see Raynor headed up to top lane, going to help clear all those Zerg out. Opie tossed over the wall. Oh, this is a lot of damage onto Lulu. Gets the cleanse onto Colonel Pants. That's amazing. Waterlong falling low. Gets into the fray out from Colonel Pants. So lots of scary crowd control onto Hunkrats, but great defensive play from them. Keeps them alive. Bot fort front wall goes down, and checking in on top, we can see about the same damage has been done here. So zero-day attack tapped and ready, putting a lot of punishment onto my pal Shade here.
Is it safe out there now? Yes.
Looks like Arleorc does not have tap available, but that is likely to trade in his favor over time here. Checking back in on bot lane, we've got Start Slow moving over to their Bruiser camp. A slight rotational advantage to them, but of course the experience lead is in the hands of Hunkrats thanks to their extra hero kills. So it's going to be an earlier level 10, and there it is. Taking a look at our heroics, we've got Light Bomb, we've got Warlord's Challenge, we've got a Hyperion. Nice. Entomb, and here's the engagement. A huge taunt onto 2. Arlu falling low, caught behind the Entomb here. Pops the ultimate, but it's going to be all she wrote. That's 2 for nothing. Maybe yes, my pal Shade goes down to Opie's Water Elemental, taking a lot of damage, but able to make it out. And while Hunkrats have secured a lot of experience, and likely they will secure a fair amount of structure damage on this bot fort, in top, we've had zero-day attack plugging away, getting a lot done on this top fort, likely to go down here. My pal Shade, I don't know if they're going to be able to save it just with a sliver of HP, able to keep their fort alive. It's very important in the top lane to have your fort because it also means you have your well. And Zero Day going to keep poking at this fort with their Q. Entomb now from Shade onto Zero Day here. Gets the stun. Zero Day able to make it out alive. And in bot lane, of course, we had Kael'thas falling to the decisive engage of Start Slow Then Taper Off. 4 kills to 7 in favor of Hunkrats. Over the wall goes Xenochrist, and that's going to be another kill. A lot of great tosses from Colonel Pants, doing very well to punish the positioning of Start Slow. Opie gets a poke onto Garrosh, doing what they can to stack up their ice block progress. And in top, we've got Blaze securing the objective. Hyperion is available, but not going to be committed. Checking back in on top lane, we've got Shade and Zero Day duking it out. Perhaps a rotation? No, it's going to be a bush gank. Lulu, scouted by the Moonfire. Xenochrist gets a stun onto Arthanau. 2 taunted here, and it's a Pyroblast. That's 1 dead Druid. A Light Bomb to peel. Colonel Pants able to back up and stay healthy. Opie finishes off their ice block. That's going to help them a lot to stay alive. And Zero Day finishes off the fort. Commits the bunker here. Shade definitely looking for the kill, but Xenochrist is able to get the Blaze out of trouble. And it looks like our blue team are on their way top, keeping Raynor in bot lane to work on the Zerg solo. This wave likely to take out the fort here. Level 13s on both sides. Still an experience lead on the side of Hunkrats, thanks largely to that hero XP once again. 9-4 our kill count. Another huge taunt from Colonel Pants. Fenrir stuck in the back. Opie gets the ice block off, but here comes my pal Shade. Spooks in with the Wraithwalk and is on this Jaina like white on rice. That's going to be another kill. A stun onto Fenrir, followed up with the Gravity Lapse. They fend in it's going to be all they wrote for the Cassia. That's another kill going over to Hunkrats. Holy cow, these guys are on fire. So a lot of experience gained from hero kills there, a level away from their level 16 talents, and they are straight to the boss. Love to see this quick rotation from them. Start slow, still have 10 seconds to wait before their Anubarak is back up and able to help them contest any of these camps. So it's good to see Hunkrats take advantage of their power play. Just a quarter of level of XP away from their level 16s now, and about 2 full levels, a little bit more than that, on the side of Start Slow. We've got Zero Day working on the Bruisers solo. It looks like it is unlikely that they're going to get an invade. Checking back in on top lane. A root and stun onto the Kael'thas. That is a dead bug. Another kill onto Xenochrist. Colonel Pants doing so well. Holy cow, 2-man Entomb over here. Arlu the target of the Pyroblast. They do make it out alive, but OP is not as lucky. Another 2 kills over to the side of Hunkrats. Boss still at half health. They are definitely trying to secure this keep here. They may look to go core depending on if they secure another kill. The Hyperion committed now, and with the Hyperion and boss on top keep, and with Jaina still 15 seconds out, a throw in from Garrosh onto the Kael'thas and stuns. Zero Day attack onto Lulu here. Fenrir falling very low. That's going to be a dead Cassia, and Bunker is down. We've got Cocoon out. Core is down below 30 HP. We lose the Kael'thas down below 10 HP, and it looks like that's going to be it. GG, well played to our teams. A decisive win for our first game. This is what we want to be here. What a decisive map win on the side of Hunkrats. They did exceptionally well to keep the power plays enforced, getting a lot of value out of the winning top lane, and of course a lot of great tosses from Colonel Pants on Garrosh. That is the playmaking that I was alluding to earlier in the broadcast. Taking a look at our stats, we've got the most damage done by Leoric, likely thanks to all of those drain hopes onto Zero Day attack there. Cassia on the other side, Fenrir racking up just as much damage. And checking in on our builds, it was an auto attack Cassia. Many leaves on the side of Arlu for the Malfurion. And level 4, the Indomitable use from Colonel Pants was truly, truly inspired. Able to avoid lots of Anubarak CC and get into the fight. Secures a lot of huge taunts off of that. Really well done to our blue team. A map chosen and a map victory. This is the potential start for the domination that I had mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. If Hunkrats are able to secure this second win, that will boost them back up into standings contention with the next 3 teams above them. It would be great to see the division continue to shake up there. But of course, start slow, then taper off. Our number ones are in first place currently. They have been playing dominantly thus far. I won't be surprised to see this game go the distance. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in. It's great to have everyone come out and support these two teams. And let them know in chat who you're rooting for. I'm sure they're going to come back and watch, and they'll want to know that they had your support. And it looks like we've got another map. We are headed to Infernal Shrines, as picked by Hunkrats. So start slow, then taper off, opting for first pick once again. I think most of the games that I have broadcast thus far this season, no matter the division, first pick has typically won, so I'm not surprised to see that preference still come out from the red team. But, of course, as we saw in our previous game, it is not a guaranteed win. And I think this is probably one of NGS's favorite maps. We all play it, we all love it, we all know it. Fighting for John Cena. The Punisher is a great objective to secure. Able to do a lot of siege damage. But of course, the map is very flexible in the beginning. The early stages, it is safe to drop an objective and just kind of ignore it. So we might see more global pressure and kind of trying to leverage those map mechanics. We could see a stronger preference for Sylvanas. Her Black Arrows trait is able to amplify all of the objective pushes that you're able to do with the Punisher. We're also likely to see, if we're going to see a triple frontline comp out of either team, this might be the map to do it. Having many beefy health bars to help sustain within the objective pit is a popular strategy. Doing a little bit of pre-match research on these teams, the Hunkrats are true wildcards in draft. They have played many heroes across their season, so I'd be interested to know how Start Slow, then Taper Off has approached the banning and kind of draft prep for this match, knowing that Hunkrats are unpredictable at a minimum. We may see another Gul'dan ban here. Gul'dan able to secure lots of the skeletal defenders, the objective monkeys, as I'm sure I will inadvertently call them at some point during the game. But after Waterlong's strong showing on Kael'thas, I would be really excited to see that hero back on the battlefield. The ability for Living Bomb to spread from PvE targets to PvP targets can allow not only for great minion stealing within the Shrine Pit, but can also end up spreading a lot of damage onto a team that is not paying attention. We are likely to see another Hogger ban as well. We saw Hunkrats do that on Braxis, and this Infernal Shrines is truly Hogger's playground. One that allows for lots of mercenary capturing and objective fighting with an infinite spin. I love the map for that reason. I'm a Augur player myself. I'll also say, back on the subject of start slow then taper off's previous 2 seasons, it is really awesome to see continuity amongst a roster. This being their 3rd season together and advancing a division with each season, and finishing first in their previous 2 seasons, it shows the power of teamwork. It's an excellent thing to see. Looks like we are about ready to hop into the draft now. Let them know that we are ready as well. All right, let's get into the draft. Don't give away our strats sound. Orion. Orion, anyone who looks at my profile knows that I play Hogger. Come on. Alright, first ban over to start slow. I'll bet we see a Garrosh ban after Colonel Pants's commanding showing on the hero. This is another great Garrosh map. His primary displacement cannot target the objective monsters. And so it is going to be another great opportunity for Colonel Pants to show us what the War Chief can do. I'm interested to see if Start Slow feel it was as oppressive as it looked. And it is going to be that Garrosh ban, as we thought it might be. They don't like being thrown around and bullied. He's a mean, mean orc. Hogger ban, to be expected. Hunkrats have done their homework and know that they are likely to see it from start slow then taper off. Second ban, I'll be interested to see if they continue to target ban based off of last map. A Kael'thas ban wouldn't be unheard of. Yrel instead. Fair enough. Yrel, a good hero for the map. Able to hop over walls and get some pretty threatening engagements onto backlines. Last ban is going to be the Blaze. A respect ban from both teams. And first pick now available to start slow. I'll be interested to see what power pick they emphasize here. It's going to be first pick Anduin. A sturdy healer, reliable, an excellent cleanse in the form of Leap of Faith. Followed immediately by Stukov Johanna. Johanna, probably one of the better tanks for the map. Immediate answer with Anubarak and Orphea. I didn't mention Johanna because I'm bad at drafting. Johanna completely slipped my mind. She's an excellent hero for the map. She is able to gather shrine minions for her allies, as well as stay on the point in the pit for a very long time with her sturdy health pool and unstoppable. Volaban now for Hunkrats. I would have imagined that was going to be another offlane ban. So perhaps their scouting tells them that the Vala pick is scarier. We could see another offlane ban here from start slow. It's going to be a Zeratul ban instead. So we have both Leoric and Kael'thas available to Hunkrats. Both had strong showings last map. But Leo isn't necessarily the best pick into Anduin or Orphea. or Anubarak. They all either save their allies or have a tool for escaping Entomb. Raynor Probius. Okay. Probius, something that we have seen out of Hunkrats earlier this season. Excited to see it here myself firsthand. That is a spicy hero, one we do not see very often in NGS. Last two picks now, it's going to be Dahaka, Falstad. So double global for start slow. Last pick now, likely to be an offlaner, a second frontline presence. But it could be a Probius offlane, and they double up on damage here. Probius is so unknown to me that I never know what to expect once the draft has Probius in it. Very exciting stuff. Sonya. Alright, a second frontliner. As expected. So let's take a look at our drafts here. Stukov, Johanna, Raynor, Probius, Sonya. Probius, of course, both of his ults, the Null Gate and the Pylon Overcharge, are able to do a lot for area denial and secure. So if Probius is able to get set up on any of these objective pits, he's going to pump out a lot of damage. Of course, he's very fragile, and so the decisive engage from a Light Bomb Anubarak, perhaps, or a dig behind from Dahaka and all of the Orphea damage, it's going to be a tough time for the probe. Alright, let's see how it all shakes out and get into our game. Over here on the left side in blue, we've got Hunkrats, Lulu playing Stukov, My Pal Shade on Sonya, Waterlong playing Probius, Colonel Pants on Johanna, and Arthanau playing Raynor. And to the right in red, we've got Start Slow Then Taper Off. Xenochrist playing Anubarak, Zero Day Attack on Dahaka, Arlu on Anduin, Fenrir on Orphea, and Opie playing Falstad. Checking in on our level 1 talents, we've got Low Blow from Stukov, a different build out of the Raynor here. No longer looking for the minion clear. Lots of damage onto Waterlong, though. Zero Day doing what they can to harass the Probius. And Colonel Pants taking some punishment from Opie. Opie is stacking up that W build. A root now onto 2, secures both kills there. Start Slow Then Taper Off, able to secure a great first wave fight. Of course, Probius is a minion killing machine, so they've already pushed out bot wave. Checking in on mid, we've got Arthanau and Opie vying for minion supremacy. Zero Day Attack is going to come in and finish off that clear. And checking in on bot siege, we've got Start Slow Then Taper Off, starting the camp immediately. I don't know if Hunkrats scouted this one out, so it's going to be tough for them to respond. And they are going to find them just a bit too late. They secured the siege camp of their own, but this neutral siege camp going over to Start Slow, it's a great kind of tempo advantage for the red team. Checking in on mid lane. Oh, but it looks like they are stepping up aggressively. My Pal Shade rotates in to help finish off this camp. Opie sticks their beak in just for a moment, realizing that Swiftwing doesn't want to fight all 5 of Hunkrats. So 2 camps still going over to the side of Hunkrats. An excellent aggressive rotation from them secures not only theirs, but also their opponent's siege camp. Level 4s on both sides here. We've got Subdue from Johanna and Piercing Light from Anduin. And we'll see if and when either of those quests get completed. In the top left, we've got Hunkrats working on their bruiser camp, trying to get this prepared before the objective is active. Checking in on bot lane. I don't know that Start Slow are going to be able to make the rotation to that camp as well, so Dahaka can stay in top lane and clear that and be down to the objective in a timely fashion, thanks to his global, but there's going to be a lot of time when Hunkrats can kind of leverage their power play. Stun in now from Xenochrist on to Arthanau, falling very low. Able to escape. Fenrir falling low themselves. A great counter-engage from Hunkrats, and we can see Arthanau putting pressure onto Xenochrist, knowing that the Rainer doesn't bring a lot of clear to the objective, but puts a lot of pressure onto the health pool. Another engage from Xenochrist. Barrel roll in from Opie. Stuns, or slows rather, My Pal Shade on the flank onto the Falstad here, and it's 22 to 14 in favor of our blue team. Hunkrats doing so well on this first objective. We're going to see Dahaka does dig in here, and it looks like Johanna's going to make it out with the Iron Skin. My Pal Shade still on the Falstad here, perhaps stepping a little too far away from the rest of the team. And a jump from the Punisher secures a kill onto Falstad. First kill over to the side of Hunkrats. And this is going to be a great objective for the Hunkrats. The Frozen Punisher, excellent at putting a lot of early siege pressure thanks to the Frozen building disable. Of course, Start Slow aren't given up without a fight. They are working as much as they can to fend off our blue team, but it's definitely a strong objective from Hunkrats. Likely to back off here, level 7s on both sides, and we can see Hunkrats falling back to do the neutral siege camp. A full E-build from Fenrir on the Orphea, trying to stack up that dread damage as much as possible. 10 stacks for Falstad's level 1 Dishonorable Discharge, and 4 stacks of the Piercing Light. So that is a lot of spell power for Arlu there on Anduin. About 3/4 of a level away from their heroics. Looks like our blue team is going to do as much as they can to get siege damage on mid-fort wall, while Start Slow works to defend the bottom siege camp. They're going to be able to secure the whole front wall here. Hunkrats are going to be very happy with that. Heroics in their hands. They're setting up a potential push party for Start Slow. We'll see if they take the bait, but I think our red team likely understands that Hunkrats have a strong advantage with their heroics in hand. Yeah, they're not going to try and contest that bruiser camp. Great to see our blue team taking advantage of their heroic talent tier. Great drag from Zero Day is going to minimize the structure damage done by that stolen camp, but a lot of damage done nonetheless. Both mid and bot front walls down. 10s on both sides now. Xenochrist, able to escape with the burrow charge. Looks like we had a misclick on this leap. Light bomb onto Lulu here. Zero Day looking for more. The cocoon goes out onto the Stukov player, and there's Crushing Jaws, followed up by a double stun from Xenochrist. My Pal Shade's falling very low. A gust away from Opie and a flailing wipes from Lulu will reset the fight. Still a level advantage, or about 1/4 of a level advantage now over the side of Hunkrats. A hectic fight. Sonya's dead. Totally missed it. that is going to be a tough loss on the side of Hunkrats. Zero Day Attack taking so much damage from the forts here. Xenochrist commits a lot of damage onto Waterlong here, but the Null Gate is going to slow down their push. Blessed Shield onto Fenrir, Cleanse, Spy, Leap of Faith. Zero Day Attack looking for the tongue, lands onto the Bruiser minion. Start slow, understanding that they are doing well with this siege, are not going to prioritize rotating to the objective just yet. They're trying to keep pressure on Hunkrats as much as possible. An Iron Skin from Johanna is able to evade the tongue. And Hunkrats are able to get onto the objective first once again. A Hearth back from Dahaka means that it's going to be a little bit of time before Start Slow are able to contest this, if they look to at all. We've got a dig in now from Zero Day Attack. Unstoppable from Johanna. My Pal Shade stuns onto 2. So much damage on the Falstad. That's 3 to go down. Zero Day Attack, not long for this world. Oh my gosh. Zero Day and Xenochrist both escape. Fenrir falling very low here. Do they have another Q for a dash? They don't secure it. 3 for nothing on the side of Hunkrats. Another decisive objective fight for them. That leap in from My Pal Shade doing so much to set up Lulu on the low blow kill. That E-build for Stukov really can be quite a menace. And Hunkrats are choosing to stall their objective capture here. They want to take advantage of their tempo, secure all of the mercenary camps, get as much XP off of the map and in their hands as possible. Thirteens on both sides here. We've got Burning Beetles, and Nullgate is committed for the mid fort. Double camp and a Nullgate. Only... Oh, double stun now. That's a great engagement. Holy cow. A tongue out onto Lulu. That's going to be 2 for nothing. Waterlong looking for an escape, able to thrust their way out of there. My Pal Shade finishing off the objective. A leap from Sonya onto Zero Day is not going to be enough to peel for the Johanna. So an objective secured by Hunkrats, but Start Slow able to win the fight at the end. The follow-up of Fenrir with Crushing Jaws onto Xenochrist's engages are really crisp. Mid-fort gonna go down here, but the keep wall not gonna sustain any damage. And the experience gap is shrinking. Checking in, we've got more hero XP going to the side of Start Slow, as well as more minion XP, but looking at that structure and passive XP, that's where we can see Hunkrats really kind of taking the lead. Bruiser camp secured for Start Slow, then taper off. We'll look to see if they want to get aggressive here. Burrow charge in from Xenochrist. There's the Light Bomb follow-up. Lulu pops the Flailing Swipes, and we've got Cocoon onto the Stukov. Looks like Start Slow didn't see the engagement they were hoping for. They still have Opie on the Falstad in bot lane, getting a lot of experience kind of uncontested there. A blind tongue from Zero Day, unable to secure a drag. And now we've got the Bruiser camp pushing on the side of Hunkrats. It is in their favor. Checking in on our level 16 talents, we've got Epicenter from Anubarak, going to make his Burrow Charge engagements all the more threatening. Tunneling Claws from Dahaka, so they can zoom around while invulnerable. Glyph of Faith from Anduin, amping up the number of cleanses in the bank. It's insane how quickly a Probius team can clear a camp. Colonel Pants now posturing with Xenochrist. We'll see if a Blessed Shield comes out here. My Pal Shade has the leap, Zero Day attack in on the back here. Gets a drag, but it's a tough position. Light Bomb in onto the Sonya. That's going to be a dead warrior. Colonel Pants falling so low, able to escape thanks to Lulu's flailing swipes once again. We'll see how much damage is available, and the crushing jaws once again. Lulu makes it out alive, but Colonel Pants is going to pay in the end. 2 kills on the side of Start Slow, and this is the momentum shift our red team needs to stay in the game, take us to a game 3 in the series, getting as much of this structure damage as they can while they've got a advantage on the map. Checking in on top, we can also see Zero Day working on the top fort with those minions, prepping this lane as much as possible, as that's where the objective is going to be. May have stayed a bit too long here, but no CC is going to keep them locked down. Dahaka able to scoot away, and they proc the objective. They've got pretty solid objective clear on their own now, thanks to Ferocious Stalker at level 13. And once again, we've got the global advantage. Start Slow, really doing what they can to maximize their draft. Zero Day a little low now on Essence, so they're going to have to back up. 10 objective minions on the side of Hunkrats. With OP flying in, it's going to be a full 5v5. About a half-level lead on the side of Start Slow, and they're engaging aggressively onto Waterlong. Zero Christ doing so much damage. An isolation and drag from Zero Day secures the kill onto Probius. Fenrir falls low, but able to kill the Johanna there. A light bomb onto My Pal Shade, uses the leap to escape, but Lulu goes down. 3 for nothing on the side to Start Slow and taper off. The aggressive engagement onto the Probius that we were kind of cautioning at the beginning of the game has come into full effect. Epicenter from Anubarak definitely making it all the harder for Probius to survive these engagements. And it is a full level lead over to the side of Start Slow now. We can see in bot lane, Dahaka is working on keeping the minions at bay and approaching the level 20 Storm talent tier. What started as a convincing fight win for Hunkrats ends up being all Start Slow. Looking for more kills here in the hopes that they can secure a full keep. Hunkrats are going to have something to say about it, though. Colonel Pants taking a lot of punishment from the Punisher, an apt name. An engagement from Xenochrist onto My Pal Shade. Counter engagement with the leap here. Probius taking a lot of punishment from the Punisher now. But Hunkrats are able to fend off the objective. Checking in on our level 1, 33 stacks for OP on his Dishonorable Discharge, and 26 stacks on the Mind Devour for Orphea. Hunkrats doing a good job to rotate and grab what camps they can before Start Slow, press their advantage with Storm Talents in their hands. Speaking of Storm Talents, we've got Rewind from Anubarak, Contagion from Dahaka, Inner Fire from the Anduin. Not something I typically see on 20. I frequently see Censure, where your root turns into a stun. Engulfing Oblivion, interesting. Resetting the cooldown on the Crushing Jaws. Potential huge playmaking from Fenrir here. And the Wind Tunnel from OP. So if OP is able to get Hunkrats up against a wall with that Wind Tunnel, it could be Crushing Jaws after Crushing Jaws. Next objective in mid lane, it's going to be an Arcane Punisher. And the Hunkrats doing a great job to understand where they're safe, which is directly behind their wall. Probius showing us all of his cosmetics with his dance and his spray and his voice lines. And there it is, Storm Talents on both sides, Controlled Chaos from Stukov, Ariet's Crater from Sonya. Probius is going for Probius Loop. So even more Warp Rifts available. That's where most of Probius's damage comes from. Radiating Faith from Johanna. But Xenochrist digs in here, gets the web wrap onto our Raynor player. Artha now falling low. Lots of damage onto the front line of Start Slow Then Taper Off. Artha now able to escape thanks to that Paint Them Red. My Pal Shade not going to be able to escape. Lots of damage flying back and forth. Xeno Day Attack engages once again. Colonel Pants falling very low. Mind Devour completed on the side of Fenrir. All the while, in top, we've had a Catapult and Bruiser Camp working on this top keep. A hectic fight. Lulu almost securing a lot of the damage onto Start Slow, but Start Slow able to come out on top nonetheless. Diving under bot fort here. They're able to do this thanks to the beetles spawned by Anubrak's trait. Of course, this is going to put them a little bit slow to rotate up to the objective. I don't think our Hunkrats are interested in contesting them too early. Sonya will be back in 5 seconds. They may have an opportunity to contest this objective, but it's going to be tight. Xenochrist stepping forward, looking for an early scout. 15 minions on the side of Start Slower Than Taper Off already. Zero Day Attack, scouted by the Banshee, takes a lot of damage there. Duskwing doing a lot too, and there goes a stun out from Hunkrats. Falling, or I should say, Gust out onto 2. My Pal Shade takes a lot of damage. Here comes the web wrap onto Johanna. Silence now. My Pal Shade unable to catch anyone with the crater. 2 for nothing now. A strong map showing is turning to ash in the mouths of Hunkrats. Lulu gets behind the gate before Zero Day Attack is able to secure that drag. And Xenochrist and Opie are happy to take this Bruiser Camp. They're confident that the objective is going to get a lot of push done in mid. So why not also knock down this top keep? Kind of hedging bets. If they engaged a little more decisively, it wouldn't give Hunkrats time to respawn. So I'm not sure if this was the best tempo play for them. Time will tell. Probius and Sonya will be alive for this objective push. Let's see if Hunkrats are able to successfully bait the Punisher onto a target with Unstoppable. Johanna pops the Iron Skin, gets dragged now by Zero Day Attack. Silence onto 2 thanks to the Contagion. Joe's dead, Sonya's dead, Anubrak is dead. So another return kill on the side of Hunkrats. And Waterlong can do lots of damage if they're able to continue setting up these pylons. So this is far from game. Zero Day Attack, able to pop the Essence. They're going to try and keep these catapults alive as long as possible. And bot keep goes down. Catapult pressure from Hunkrats is able to match the keep damage, 1 for 1 there. Of course, the top keep went down early. A barrel roll in with a Gust. Artha now gets rooted, but Lulu's controlled chaos swipes, able to save the Raynor player. You love to see that Terran synergy. I think they're both Terrans. Guys, I don't know lore. I do what I can, but I don't know lore. And with that, Start Slow and Taper Off are gonna fall back. No Anubarak available for a consistent engage. a lot of ultimates already committed. No reason to stick around with the map so heavily in their favor. Start slow. Instead, fall back, grab this bottom siege camp. Checking in with Hunkrats in mid, we've got Colonel Pants pushing out this mid wave. And start slow is close. Banshee is able to get the scout and engage in from Xenochrist. Dodged. Blessed Shield onto 2. Fenrir so low. My Pal Shade misses. The silence on the top side onto Lulu, though. 0-day attack has been a menace on the backline here. Crushing Jaws secures 2. That's another 3 kills going over to the Fenrir and start slow. They're not done. On to Arthanau. That's 4 for nothing. Waterlong, the sole survivor, but I don't think Probius is going to be able to hold off all of Start Slow then Taper Off. Xenochrist going under core, immediately trying to end this game as quickly as possible. No catapults available, but a stun onto Waterlong, followed up by the drag from 0-day attack. That is a siege camp and catapults and heroes all on the core. A 5-hero wipe and Start Slow close out game 2 decisively. Very well played on the side of Start Slow then Taper Off. They were behind early, but they kept their head in the game. They didn't lose sight of their win condition. Got a lot of incredible engages from the Anubarak, followed up by Crushing Jaws. Let's take a look at our stats. And we can see Waterlong able to do a lot of damage on the Probius there, 73,000, but only able to secure 5 kills on the side of Hunkrats. Checking in on our builds, what are Probius talents? Let's all find out together. Echo Pulse, excellent. I've seen this one before. Turbocharged, Workers Rush, everyone loves that. Makes sense. Increased spell power. Definitely gets some healing advantage over to Lulu on the Stukov, but I'm curious what else is on that talent tier. And Gravity Well. Okay, better slows. Alright. We all learned something today about Probius builds. If our home team wins, I'll see if we can't get more insight from Waterlong at the end of the game with an interview. Going the full distance, another 3-game series. Love to see it. Welcome in, everyone. Limebus, Juggerob, thanks for joining and supporting these two teams. A lot of Hunkrat fans in chat. You love to see everyone come out and support these two teams. So no domination for Hunkrats. They are only going to be able to secure 2 points if they get the win here. Not as large a boon to their rank within the standings, but it will be a nice boost to them nonetheless. Looks like we are headed to Garden of Terror for our 3rd map, as selected by Start Slow then Taper Off. This is going to be our first game where Hunkrats have the advantage of first pick. So I'll be interested to see how that adjusts the approach from either of our teams. I'll also be interested to see if Hunkrats are scared of Fenrir's Orphea. So so many kills secured by the Crushing Jaws and burst damage from that Dread build. Really powerful plays from them. So perhaps another respect ban for the Hunkrats to consider. Of course, with how large this map is, zero-day attacks, Dahaka is also worth considering. And on the side of Start Slow, perhaps we'll see a Probius ban. This map goes late. Probius is annoying to push into. Garden of Terror's map objective is not the strongest in the game. And so having to push into a Probius could be kind of annoying. Of course, if they are able to get Xenochrist on to Anubarak again, it might not be a concern for Start Slow. They seemed very comfortable engaging into the side of Hunkrats, even with a sturdy back or front line of Johanna and Sonya. My pal Shade not quite connecting with as many of the leaps as I think they would have hoped for, but otherwise a strong showing from the Sonya player. And let me check in with our teams to see how we are doing. Let them know that we out here in TV land are all ready to roll. I think there are probably lots of folks who would have looked at the standings before going into this match and thought there's no way that Hunkrats are going to be able to take any games away from Start Slow and Taper Off. They're first place, they're far ahead of the field, but I think this 1-1 score line gets to the heart of what makes these NGS matches so exciting. You know, our divisions are well balanced, and so anyone can beat anyone. And the Hunkrats are no slouches. They have plenty of strong players, veteran players. Arthanau and Lulu have been playing for 10 seasons each. So they've got lots of organized play under their belt. Colonel Pants, of course, I think I'd mentioned, has 7 seasons as well. So lots of veteran talent on the side of Hunkrats. Not surprising to see them putting up such a strong fight against our first place team. Garden of Terror is kind of a special pick. I don't know that it's one that people practice very often, because it is one of the maps that is always competing for last place in playtime out of the NGS map pool. In fact, we will end up having 2 of those maps played tonight, both Braxis and Garden, making it into the series. Looks like we're just about ready to get into our next draft of our Game 3 for all the marbles, the whole enchilada, the glory, and the Garden Terrors. Unless I'm mistaken, Start Slow picked the map, and if so, we may have a lobby remake incoming. Yeah, it's going to be just that. Excellent. Just a little confusion on having the lobby set up for who gets first pick and who gets map pick. A little funny banter back and forth about not being accustomed to having first pick. Excellent. So we'll get these teams back into another lobby, get back on the train to the final destination of either a red team or blue team victory. Colonel Pants on the Johanna and the Garrosh looked pretty sturdy. But I gotta say, I think the Garrosh play a little bit stronger. I'd be interested to see if they are able to get Pants back on the hero. Start Slow may continue to ban it. I think that would be wise of them, because they had very few answers to the War Chief in Game 1. Looks like we're just waiting for one more player to rejoin our lobby. Ah, here they come. Excellent. We've got the lobby remade. We've got the correct team with first pick. And so we will actually get into our third game here, or our third draft, rather. Which, you know, game starts with draft. It's an important thing to remember. We'll see how our teams do here. Swapped first pick for the first time. We'll see how Hunkrats chooses to approach the draft from this different position. I think with how strong a showing Xenochrist had on the Anubarak, it would be in Hunkrats' best interest to get rid of it, either by picking it ahead of Start Slow or banning it away. We've got another Hogger ban. Hunkrats sticking to their guns on that one. I think it makes a lot of sense on this map as well, with 6 mercenary camps available. A Garrosh ban from Start Slow. Definitely don't want to see Colonel Pants on that hero again. Looks like we've got a Dahaka ban from Hunkrats. Understanding that the global play is going to be a big factor here on a map this large. Final ban over to Start Slow. We'll see if it's another targeted ban. And it's going to be an Anduin. So global's still available for our blue team. We'll see if Hunkrats wants to secure the Brightwing or the Falstead here. ETC with Stage Dive would be another option, of course, but I don't know that that's necessarily first pickable. It's going to be the Anubarak, doing what they can to keep Start Slow off their comfort picks. I think that is a wise decision. Xenochrist performed extraordinarily well on the hero last game, so I'll be excited to see how Colonel Pants does in return. Brightwing and Vala, or I'm sorry, Yrel, very different hero. Secured for start slow. Another deny from of Yrel. Start slow has wanted to make sure that Hunkrats don't get to play the Goat Woman. Hanzo Leoric. So both of the frontline heroes secured on the side of Hunkrats. No healer just yet for them, so likely to see a healer ban here from start slow, then taper off. It's going to be a Stukov ban. Lulu performing very well on the hero last game, saving their team a number of different times with flailing swipes. The drafts are becoming more and more targeted. We could see a tank ban or perhaps an Orphea ban on the side of Hunkrats. Of course, as it stands, Fenrir is on Brightwing, so it could be possible a Johanna ban, going for the tank choke there. Both damage dealers and a second frontliner still needs to be secured for start slow. Could see a Muradin here. It's going to be Tychus, okay. Tychus and Falstad. So global advantage over to the side of start slow. And Tychus is going to be able to put a lot of pressure onto Leoric and Anubarak both. Last two picks here, a healer and perhaps one more damage dealer. It's going to be Zeratul Lili. All right. It's Lili time. I bet you weren't expecting that. I certainly wasn't expecting that. Blinds for the Tychus makes a lot of sense. Blinds for the Falstad, sure. Very limited interrupts for Jug of 1,000 Cups, 10,000 Cups, however many cups. A lot of cups. And it's going to be Muradin, last pick for start slow. All right, let's let's look at these drafts. Let's think about these drafts, shall we? We've got a Lili. We've got a Zeratul. I think of one as very beginner-friendly and one as a lot more geared towards advanced play, so fun to see them both on the same side. Lili selected likely for the blind utility that she brings. Of course, Polymorph and Avenging Wrath, or whatever the boop is from Yrel, and Stormbolt from Muradin, they do have a lot of answers for the blue team. So let's see who ends up taking it all the way. Here on the left, in blue, we have Hunkrats. Lulu playing Lili. Give a shout out to Lili, everyone. My pal Shade on Leoric. Waterlong on Hanzo. Colonel Pants playing Anubarak. And Arthanau on Zeratul. And to the right, in red, we've got Start Slow and the Taper Off. Zero Day Attack playing Yrel. Xenochrist on Muradin. Arlu on Tychus. Fenrir on Brightwing. And Opie playing Falstad. Checking in on our level 1 talents, it's going to be a Q build, target practice for Hanzo. So Waterlong is going to be looking to stack up those Stormbow hits as much as possible. And we've already got Zero Day Attack with their wings out, looking for an engagement onto Hunkrats. Over the wall, but doesn't find anyone. It is going to give the minion clear advantage over to start slow. They're going to get their rotations out to the side lanes a little bit faster. Lots of good vision tools on the side of Hunkrats in the form of Vision Arrow and Scatter Arrow from Hanzo, as well as the Beetles from Anubarak. And we can see in bot lane, start slow then taper off, able to get another wave. 1 minute now spawns all of the mercenary camps, and with 6 available across the map, it is important for both teams to prioritize it, and so they will. Start slow then taper off, getting started on their bottom siege camp, and Hunkrats in mid lane, matching that siege camp with Waterlong and Lulu. Arthanau, Lulu, and Waterlong are able to make this rotation to the Bruiser camp, but with their Nubarak showing in mid lane, Xenochrist is going to try and scare them off. A level 1 Zeratul is not particularly strong, but Waterlong scouts with the Sonic Arrow, knows that this tank is alone. A good bluff from Xenochrist, but another great response from the Hunkrats. Natural agility over the wall from Waterlong. We'll see how blue team looks to approach this first objective phase. A stun in from Colonel Pants onto OP. Lots of damage onto the Volstad there. Waterlong body blocked by Murden, but able to make it out alive. The mid camp still needs clearing from Hunkrats. And so that puts a little bit of pressure on their waves. But we can see a stun out from Xenochrist onto Colonel Pants. Nubarak, unafraid. Arthanau gets a quick Q and blink out. And on the top side of the map, we've got Waterlong on Hanzo working on the siege camp. So back in mid, OP taking so much damage. A rotation in from both offlaners here. Level 4s on both sides. A slight experience lead for Hunkrats. And it looks like they are going to do as much as they can to pressure this turn-in. Zero-day attack leaps in, able to make it out alive. Fly in from OP. Puts a lot of damage onto My Pal Shade. First blood over to the side to start slow and taper off. Xenochrist jumping in, gets the stun onto Waterlong, who still has natural agility, able to make it back over the wall. Damage now onto Arthanau, but this is going to be a objective secured by start slow and taper off. Great stalls from Hunkrats, though. All the while, in top, we've got a siege camp rolling. Checking in on that, it's gotten half of this fort tower. Not a bad outcome for the side of Hunkrats. I think you would tend to prefer your first objective, the one on your side of the map, going over in your favor. But as with tributes on Cursed Hollow, the magic number is 3. Garden Seeds? Terror Seeds? Whatever they're called. An attempt from Colonel Pants onto Arlu is not going to find it. Checking in on top lane, My Pal Shade getting a little bit of attention from Xenochrist and Zero Day. Level 7s on both sides. We do have Let's Go from Lily. That is her cleanse. Oh my gosh, so much damage onto Colonel Pants. They're able to get the burrow charge out, but with so little HP left, I don't know if they're going to be able to contest this objective. Zero-day attack on the other side of My Pal Shade, already using the Wraithwalk, means that this Bone King is not long for this world. They'll be back, but not in time for the objective. Waterlong finds a great scatter, though, able to secure a kill there on to start slow then taper off. Colonel Pants taking a lot of punishment from Urel. OP eats the burrow charge, and that's another kill going over to Hunkrats. Xenochrist making it out with just 500 HP. Arthanau unable to find the final kill. So 2-2 is our kill count. Our team's falling very low. Zero-day attack looking to get cheeky over the wall, but My Pal Shade and Colonel Pants doing a great job zoning off. Both teams able to secure the quote-unquote far side objective. A slight experience lead still in the hands of Hunkrats, and we can see in bot lane OP committing the fly, doing as much as they can to collect all of that experience on the ground. And this minion wave is big, gonna get a lot of siege damage onto this bot fort wall. Checking in on mid, we've got my pal Shade doing as much as they can to clear the lane, taking a lot of punishment from the minion wave, and Xenochrist. Next objective, spawning in bot lane, is in a neutral position. We can see Colonel Pants going up to top lane to grab that XP. 10s in their hands means, well, 10s on both sides now. Looks like we are going to have a battle with heroics for our next objective. A late rotation from my pal Shade means I don't know if they've got a potential polymorph onto Arth now. 0 Day taking a lot of damage. Pops the ult. That is a lightning from Falstad. Takes a bunch of damage, but Yrel able to finish off the Zeratul on the bot side of the fight. Fenrir doing a great job to hold that polymorph for the Zeratul, knowing that with this Q build VP style, they are likely to try and blink in, get aggressive, get a big Void Prison for Waterlong to follow up using the Dragon's Arrow. Experience about even. A little bit more hero XP in the hands of Start Slow Then Taper Off, as well as Mercenary XP, but with my pal Shade doing as much as they can to kill every minion they see. They've got a little bit more in the way of hero XP. Lots of damage onto Colonel Pants after a narrow miss. Void Prison lands onto 4 here. Any stuns available? Looks like there are none. Both support ults come out. Double stun now onto Arlu and Fenrir. Fenrir falls slow and gets cocooned here. Colonel Pants, not much HP to work with for them either. Able to leap out for safety. Another stun onto OP, does have the barrel roll to make it out, but a blink back in from Arth now, thanks to their level 7 Seeker in the dark.
Gather the seed, heroes, quickly.
A great set of kills for Hunkrats there. And likely to secure this objective without much consequence now that they've got a power play on the map and the objective is in a favorable position. 0 Day attack gets one interrupt, able to do so with that level 7 Righteous Momentum. A set of ults out from the blue team. Waterlong able to secure the siege camp, but Start Slow have pushed Hunkrats off the objective. Fenrir able to secure it there. That's the 3rd objective over to the side of Start Slow and Taper Off. First Garden Terror phase going over to them. A heavy commitment by the red team onto the objective. It's able to secure it for them. 0 Day attack really understanding the limits on that Yrel. And we've got a 4-hero commitment to top by Start Slow. Colonel Pants unable to defend this push on their own. We'll see Zeratul coming in on the flank. Gets 2 with the VP. No Dragon's Arrow to follow up here, but we've got stuns from Colonel Pants. A Water Dragon from Lulu lands onto Xenochrist. We've got a kill onto the Falstad player. 0 Day attack does have their ult available. They're looking for a kill onto Waterlong. Probably going to secure it here. That Velen's Chosen really ramping up the damage available to Yrel. Checking in on mid lane. My pal Shade is able to escape from Arlu and Xenochrist. So top fort goes down. Mid fort takes a little bit of damage, and about half of bot fort goes down after the first objective phase for Start Slow Then Taper Off. They did not collect as much experience during that objective phase, and so they are a level behind now, dropping about 3,000 minion XP compared with Hunkrats. A lot of that coming from the gap between my pal Shade and 0 Day attack. Camps have spawned, so camps must be done. Hunkrats secure their mid-siege camp, And in top right, we can see Start Slow and Taper Off grabs their Bruiser Camp. About 2/3 of a level away from level 16, a stun polymorph combo onto the Zeratul, and that is a dead Protoss.
Are you ready for it?
Blink and you miss it. The follow-up from the Stormbolt by Fenrir, a really great kill to secure there. And Arlu is going to go ahead and pop the Commandeer Odin, get as much siege value out of the heroic as possible. Able to outrange this building.
There's my precious.
Checking in on our level 1 talents. Waterlong is almost complete with their quest. A big power spike is available to them. Stuns now in onto Xenochrist. Able to catch Arlu in the Entomb. My Pal Shade pushed away with the Emerald Wind, but able to get in front of Xenochrist means that that's a kill. Level 16's in their hands. Arth now finishing off that tower there. Of course, zero-day attack during that whole fight was pushing in bot lane with the bottom siege camp, able to finish off bot fort. So 2 forts down on the side of Hunkrats, and about even in experience. Checking in on Colonel Pants and Zero Day. A lot of damage available with the Templar's Verdict, as well as Critterize at level 16.
Seed is on the verge of sprouting.
Both of those Armor Shred talents putting a lot more pressure onto the somewhat squishy front line of of Hunkrats. Start slow, secure the invade there. Zero-day attack gets a great boop. Arth now pushed away with the Emerald Wind, perhaps a tech pick. Lightning out from Falstad. Arth now falling so low, gets cocooned here. Or the Yrel does, rather. Arth now needs to back out. My Pal Shade looking for a slow onto the engagement here. Lulu caught on an island. Zero-day attack doing what they can to zone the rest of the team from the Lili. A 3-person Void Prison, but no follow-up available, means 3 kills over to the side of Start Slow then Taper Off. They've still got a little bit of this siege camp available to them, so they're going to keep pushing. 30 seconds before a new rack is back up. 25 for Lili. Both wave clear heroes still alive, so there is some clear available for Hunkrats.
Destroyed a fort.
Start slow, understand this. They're going to back off. They're just there for the keep. Happy to play the slow game. And they're going to secure all of the outer structures now. Hunkrats not too far behind on experience, about a half level away from parity with Start Slow, and doing a great job to cautiously play around the vision. Of course, it's now a race to Storm Talents.
Another seed to gather, hero.
Another favorable objective spawn for Hunkrats. Looks like Zero-Day Attack and My Pal Shade saying hello to one another. My Pal Shade's damage really ramping up with this auto-attack build, able to put a lot more punishment onto Yrel and Muradin. But Start Slow know that they have an advantage. Hunkrats are spread out a bit.
Won't you be gathering
Xenochrist jumps over the wall, sidestep from Colonel Pants. Opie gets a Q out. Zero-Day Attack taking so much damage. That's a huge Dragon's Arrow. But that's a big hinterlands from Opie. Arth now very low in the back here. Hits another 3-person Void Prison. Fenrir able to stun them out with the Emerald Wind. Kills flying on both sides here. Xenochrist, Arlu, and Fenrir still alive with no support available to Hunkrats. They're going to back off, as well as catapults now landing on the core. This is an objective. There's a siege camp. There are already catapults on core. This is a lot of potential siege damage available to Start Slow. Are they going to be able to push to core here with Storm Talents in their hands? No Urel and no Falstad, but Falstad may be able to global in once they spawn in about 20 seconds. Our red team is happy to work on this mid keep. Xenochrist able to sidestep that. Drain Hope from my pal Shade, and the core is already down to 75% HP. Arlu, Xenochrist, and Fenrir continuing to work on these outer structures, inner structures really, non-core structures. And 64% is more than 0, so our blue team is able to hold Hunkrats with no forts or keeps available. It's going to be a uphill battle for them for sure. Storm Talent's available now. Xenochrist looking to get aggressive here. Pops the rewind. But Colonel Pants and Lily on the backside. Lulu caught on an island. How did that happen? Another support death is going to be challenging for Start Slow to be repulsed. Big Silence Entomb onto 2 here. That's a lot of damage. They secure the kill onto the Brightwing. That's going to be another one onto Anubarak, however. My pal Shade falling low. Able to get a lot of autos and sustain, but not enough to finish off any of Start Slow then Taper Off. We've got a big red button Tychus on the core. Waterlong looking to get another Stormbow shot onto them, but with the core falling now and only 1 alive on the side of Hunkrats, it looks like it's going to be a 2-1 victory for Start Slow then Taper Off. GG and well played. A 2-1 victory for our first place seed. Really well played on the side of Hunkrats, doing as much as they can to take it to our #1 team, but in the end, it was the decisive engagements from Start Slow and Taper Off that was able to clutch the victory. Take a quick look at our post-game stats. And Hanzo, top of the lobby with 64k, but in the end, the kill count favored Start Slow. A lot of really great engagements from both Xenochrist and Zero Day on the Urel and Muradin. A swap in position between Arlu and Fenrir, which is interesting to note, and going for the Emerald Wind, perhaps a tech pick to deal with the Zeratul on the other side. A really interesting and exciting game, to be certain. Let me see if Start Slow want to join us for an interview. So there you go. That's our series. Really well played by both of our teams. The Garrosh play from Colonel Pants day 1, or in game 1, was really convincing, but in the end, the other 2 maps were able to go over to the side of Hunkrats. And it looks like we will have an interview. Just gonna swap over to that scene so everyone can hear you. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We are happy to win that set.
A convincing 2-1. Not necessarily the outcome I think a lot of people would have predicted if they were just to look at the standings before the game started. That game 1, Braxis, is Braxis something that you guys have much experience on? I know that it is a seldom played map from most folks on in NGS.
I wouldn't say it's one of our main maps, but it's not one of our weak maps either.
Gotcha. Colonel
It's
Pants.
not something I think we really go for, but I think we do fine on it.
Gotcha. Colonel Pants on the Garrosh was a real menace that game. Talk to me about what comms were like trying to negotiate those engages from Garrosh.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit of a slow start there. Garrosh is kind of a unique play style. We're not always warmed up and ready for that.
Sure.
We had some draft picks on our side, which aren't, I guess, our main picks. I don't know.
Sure.
Some of those fights just didn't go the way we were trying to engage them, and I think that just threw us off, and we couldn't regain our footing in that game.
Definitely. And Braxis is a rather snowbally map, so not too surprising to see it get away from you there. Of course, Game 2, Infernal Shrines, you guys had a somewhat slow start, but once the heroics came online, the crisp engages from Xenochrist and the follow-up from Fenrir with the Crushing Jaws, it looked like pure clockwork from you guys. How did you guys feel that game was going when you fell behind two structures in the beginning? Was it a nervous sort of feeling like we might get domination here, or was it cool as a cucumber, we just need our heroics, this is fine?
Yeah, that's sort of a pattern, I guess. With certain teams, things seem to turn around once we hit level 10. And I think I was a little surprised how that game was going, because we were getting engages that looked pretty good, but we weren't landing kills. That was, I think, our main issue. And I think Fenrir, probably in the mid-game, pointed out, we just need to be a little bit more aggressive. We need to really bring things together. And then I was playing Ando in that game, and I made an adjustment, too, to kind of circumvent. They had a huge combo between the Joanna, Sonya, and Stukov. So I was trying to not group with the team, too. So I think we made some adjustments mid-game, which really brought us back into our usual play style.
Definitely. And some really solid light bomb counter engages from you whenever we saw my pal Shade jump in on the Sonya. So very well played on your part there. And of course, our final map, unfortunately one of my least favorites, but one that went very convincingly over to you guys. I was shocked to see Hinterlands. I'll say that. Is that an OP special, or was that a draft tech pick?
That was an ongoing discussion mid-match all the way up to when he picked it, basically. I think we were just a little concerned about the types of damage we have. Falstad and Tychus are both kind of hybrid characters. Both really good at doing sustained damage too. So we were debating back and forth on a few different reasons why we would take one over the other, sort of as the game was going on. But luckily, OP just decided what to pick at level 10. We didn't let it go much farther than that. We've had some trouble with that in the past.
Yeah.
But I think we could have done well with either of them, and I think we definitely got value off of Hinterland Blast anyway.
Oh,
so
definitely,
I'm dissatisfied.
OP was able to hit some really big Hinterlands there, and that burst damage definitely helped out in the team fight. Of course, I think my MVP for Game 3 is probably Zero Day Attack on the Urel. Really knowing the limits of that hero, able to get stalls on those objectives 1v4 while you guys rotated in to join. I think it was the first Night Terror phase that you guys were able to secure, started with Zero Day Attack just running into the middle of the enemy team, and I thought, that dude's brave. Or foolish.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing about Zero Day Attack is he loves getting his picks. I mean, like, when we do a draft, he's focusing on the bans for his lane, he's talking about which off lane are we going to get, and we're all saying, like, okay, but what about the rest of us, you know?
I mean, as an off laner, I can sympathize. I do the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's really good with Urel, like you said, but a lot of other off laners too. So yeah, he's a quality pick for our team for sure.
Definitely. All right, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'll let you get out of here and celebrate with the team. But before you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to OP who played in the game. You mentioned his Falstad. He's been subbing a lot for us lately, and it's like always there for us when we need him, really. Sometimes at the last minute, somebody can't show up for a game, and he's our sub, so he can come in like with a minute's notice sometimes. So it's really nice to have that reliability. And the rest of the team, you, of course, for for casting and our opponent's Hunkrats tonight. We had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the interview, Arlu. Have a good one.
And you too.
And that is going to do it from us. A great series, a nail-biter to be sure. Hunkrats doing a lot to take it to the first place team, but start slow and taper off, able to secure it in the end. Before I sign off, I just want to give credit to all of the artists and programmers whose assets I use as part of the stream. It wouldn't look as good or run as smoothly without all of their work. You can check out all of the links to their content below the video as well as in the credit roll once I sign off. Feel free to stick around. I'm going to look for another NGS caster to raid, see if we can't find more Nexus love to spread around. But until next time, I've been the Sound. You've all been great. Good luck, have fun, peace, and love.